me. I'm sitting here sad and lonely without a fire but a desire to not hear you say, I want it that way, as I see the ladies walking along one by one. I never wanna hear I have a boyfriend. Tell me why I'm stuck as a virgin with rage. Tell me why I so need a cute girl my age. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I have a boyfriend and I have no fire but a desire to not.
Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Podcast of Doom, formerly called the Doom to Fail podcast before it was stole up by another group of people. It is I, Mecha Joseph, your intrepid host. I am joined here with my newly branded co-host, Ophamae. She's replaced my former co-host, Caleb. He is a product of his own design. He got held up in a kangaroo court. So I have recast him with this young lady. Say hello.
Hello.
Usually by now you're saying a lot more.
Well, I thought I'd let you get like one good intro in.
Yes.
I'm starting to get a handle on it.
The only thing I like about this time of year is that Starbucks brand Christmas coffee.
I like their, what is it called? The apple cider? Or
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Well, what a time it's been. We've released a few episodes by now. The turnout has been amazing. Ophamae can't believe that she's become an e-girl celebrity. Everybody's happy. People, familiar faces, people I haven't seen in years have popped up. Old enemies, old friends, old acquaintances. Thank you, everyone, for your support. I'm glad everyone's enjoying this and seeing my words as the shining light that they are. I hope they illuminate your minds as we journey through the internet and learn new things. And that's what this podcast is about. Each week, and no, I'm going to be the one to explain it.
Okay.
So each week, we pick a different subject and we research and study. Sometimes it's something as menial as dirt, where dirt comes from. Other times, we talk about things like strange fetishes, like adult babies. Like my former co-host was an adult baby, and I got to learn more about it and how he liked to be changed. Anyways, speaking of ridiculous, this is something I haven't even understood how to breach. Because again, this is an educational podcast, and I want to show people an uglier side of the internet that they might not see. Some people think it's ugly. Other people might think it's beautiful, but it's kind of like how when people give birth to those babies that don't have like a brain, and they're like just these little horrible monster creatures.
Oh my God.
And they look at them and they think that they're cute.
Okay.
What?
Whoa. Okay, well, can you explain what a lolcow is to me and not, like, you're bashing on babies. I don't know what that has to do with what we're going to talk about.
I was saying that some people can look at those, I guess you could call them babies, and they think that they're cute, but in reality, we all know that they're abominations that don't
Yeah, but we
deserve
don't bring
life.
it up out, like, loud.
I do whatever I want. This is my podcast. If you want to go watch a podcast with two people agreeing with each other,
well, I'm just saying, like, what if one of our viewers has an ugly baby and they didn't realize it until they heard you talk about it?
I'm sure many of our viewers have ugly babies.
Joseph!
What?
Ugly babies are, like, one out of, like, 100,000. Like, it takes, like, inbreeding to make an ugly baby.
Ha! That's the pot calling the kettle black. Mrs. Everybody where I come from's a cousin.
It's called experience.
Anyways, Lolcow. Wait. Oh, wait. We're not to that yet. You're derailing this.
I'm sorry.
So before we get into the main bulk of our episode here, we have a segment, and we're going to have 2 news segments. But the first segment is called Ophamae News. And did we tell them what your name was?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Yeah, her name's Ophamae. It's fucking... Anyways, so this is the part of... I said it's fucking weird. Yeah, this is the part of the...
My name's fine.
This is the part of the podcast where Ophamae gets to tell us the recent news and give her take on it. It's part of her agreement. This is what Caleb used to do. I have to say that so far you're tied, like, neck to neck with Caleb.
I don't like that.
Caleb was more of like, he had more like showmanship, pizzazz, like he brought like even though he was, as white as a sheet, he kind of brought this like urban aspect. He's like, yeah, he talking like, he thought he was a rapper.
Well,
Would you like to hear some of his music sometime?
He made real music.
Yeah, oh, yeah, he recorded it on my microphone. I own...
No shot.
I'm serious. I have several computers. It's on my computer upstairs. I was actually thinking about releasing some of his music under a label. What?
Wait, you really have like full songs?
Yes.
Okay, my first point, I don't like being like when you say like, oh, you're neck and neck with an adult baby. I don't like that, but I am morbidly curious about the music.
Well, I might release an album. Considering he recorded it on my computer and my thing.
Do you have enough for an album, or would it be an EP?
Oh, it wouldn't be an album.
It'd be an EP?
I don't know.
EP's like 1 to 6 songs.
I hate music. I hate it.
You hate music?
Yes.
I'm so easily influenced by music. I love music.
Well, would you like to... Maybe perhaps you could be on his, like, we can get a few, like, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Just be a hype man in the background?
Yeah, and so we could, like, featuring Ophimae. I'm sure he'd love that.
I don't know if I want to associate.
So, his one song was called Broken Glass.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, he's bitching about, like, a girl he had a crush on that ignored him. I don't know. It's probably a e-girl prostitute or something, but...
Or she didn't have a baby fetish.
I don't know. He's, I could make a whole episode about Caleb, honestly, but...
Okay, well, we're getting derailed. I do have news.
Oh, yes. Ophamae news. We're going to cue the music. Sorry, my dog is drinking water, but I'm not going to interrupt him for this ridiculous podcast. You go ahead and begin Ophamae news.
Okay. Unfortunately, a section of many of our childhoods has officially been closed. From 2009 to 2023, we have had the death of Omegle.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That was the Wild West back
It was, wasn't it? No, shocker, it got taken down for its content because of the numerous amounts of claims of pedophilic behavior on there. I know that's hard for you to understand, but,
How is that hard for me to understand?
Well, I'm sure when you got on Omegle, you weren't just looking at, just some stranger's dick like I was when I was 9.
I never really was into it.
Gosh, me and all the neighborhood kids were really into it. I remember one time we had the biggest amount of us was 5 of us, and we were just sitting there scrolling.
Looking at dicks?
Well, okay, so we put in, this was back when, Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie were doing the Slenderman stuff.
Okay.
And they were starting to get on Omegle and, like, surprise their fans. So we just put in, like, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, Markiplier into the tags to try and find one of them, like, run into one of them. But because that tag was popular, pedophiles or people who were just wanting to, I guess, show off their junk were going under the same tags, and then that's all you saw. So, yeah, it was just, like, me and another group of, like, 5 9-year-olds just clicking through the chat, and then it was like maybe 1 out of 5 was a dick, and then 4 out of 5 was like another fan that was just talking to other fans. But yeah, it was a big part of my childhood. I'm sure a lot of people's childhood, but yes,
and you're saying it's officially gone because of that, or did it get bought?
Because of that. Somebody had sued them because they had gotten, I think they had like put in a tag that like little girls like Barbie or some shit like that.
That's
and they wanted
disgusting.
to talk about Barbie or like Disney princesses. And there was a pedophile, and he eventually exposed himself in front of this person. And they have put in a complaint at the time. Like their parents was around, they put in a complaint, and then they were like, well, maybe your child shouldn't be on there, which we can go into that about parenting, but yeah. So that was the nail on the head.
Wow.
And 10 years in the making, too. They just kept coming after them.
It definitely is a part of internet history. I mean,
it is.
Again, it was never my rodeo. It was maybe a little before or after my time, maybe.
No, they're still making Omega. They were still making Omega videos this year. Like, it had just gotten another...
Something surely will... I mean, there's chat roulette still, correct? That was another one I know. Wow.
No, but there was, like, people still posting that back, like, a month ago. Like, they've gone on Omegle, and they had this new thing where if you have several cameras set up, and you'll switch between the cameras and, like, freak out the people, like, how are you doing this? It should just be your computer's
Why
camera.
must a couple of degenerates ruin everything for everyone?
They do it all the time.
So much has fallen apart.
That's why we can't drink and drive, and we have to wear seatbelts. Somebody couldn't handle their liquor.
So much of my life was destroyed because of a degenerate.
Who specifically, Caleb?
Might be a story for another day.
Okay.
And that was Ophamae news. Very good. That was very good.
I think it's pretty topical.
Well, sometimes Ophamae news is a real letdown.
A letdown?
Anyways, we're actually, before we get into the main topic, we have a new, kind of a new segment on the show. This might be news to you, Ophamae, but we have received a few fan emails.
Really?
Yes, really. And we are going to be reading them on air. I wanted to start doing this. If you guys, like I said at the beginning, I've been blown away by everyone's support. If you guys would like to get a shout out or write something in, give your opinion on the show, if you even have ideas, you can write in, message us on YouTube. I'm probably not going to read comments. We might do comment-centric episodes maybe, but like, you know, if you can put forth the effort of writing us in a different location other than the comment section, I'll try to read it on air, time pending, of course. And I do appreciate everybody's support and being serious. But we got two emails here, and I guess I'll just jump right into it, right?
Yeah, I'm really surprised people emailed us this quickly.
Why are you surprised?
I don't know how any of this works. Oh, well, yeah.
People love
but
me.
I mean, I
People
also kind
love
of feel
the
like you're
sound of my
pulling my
voice.
leg.
I'm not pulling your... Why would I make that up? Of all the things
I
to
don't
make
know.
up. Okay, I'm drinking coffee, sorry. Okay, so this first letter, they're kind of long. Dear the Podcast of Doom, I will never forget the feeling of utter elation I felt that fateful evening when I looked at my phone and saw that Mecha Joseph, after years of dormancy, had returned to us with a podcast that I can only describe as a life-changing experience. Wow.
Aww.
I immediately ordered the captain of my yacht, of which I own 12, to weigh anchor, and me and my Filipino hookers gathered around my laptop to listen to what words of love and wisdom Mecha had to share with us. Wow, this guy's been affected by our podcast so far. With a voice as crisp as the crunch of a fresh autumn leaf, Mecha Joseph's inspiring monologues enlightened not only myself, but also the many hookers adorning my yacht. Many of them turned their lives around on the spot and enrolled in nursing school, a suitable occupation for most former sex workers.
My mom's a nurse.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I have only said that Mecha Joseph is perhaps one of the most important people in today's world. He's one of those people that posterity will look at with great regard. And now he has returned in this most darkest hour to deliver us from the new age of YouTube. After listening to the first 3 episodes, I immediately contacted my personal assistant and issued a new policy to my many, many companies and financial holdings. Whenever a new episode of the Podcast of Doom is released, all employees are not to disturb me. Listening to this podcast is my first priority, no matter where I am. I believe, and I swear this in blood, that the Podcast of Doom has the power to change the world as we know it. That is, if it weren't for one thing. Ophamae.
What? I was about to say this is such a sweet email.
When When we first heard Ophamae talk, one of my Filipino hookers recounted a time she had eaten too much Taco Bell and then drank expired milk. A client apparently wanted a hot Charleston, so she was required to do this. What pursued was a gassy evening with what she described as Taco Bell milk farts.
Do you smell it?
The odor of these flatulence was unlike anything imaginable, but once it graces your nostrils, you never forget it.
Wait, what's the hot what?
A hot Charleston.
What's that?
I have no fucking idea, but apparently one of these hookers' clients had to eat. Use your imagination. Your mom was a sex worker. This is undoubtedly the greatest way to describe the sound of Ophimae's voice. Her voice sounds like how a Taco Bell milk fart smells. I say it, I write it in the sky with gossamer clouds. Ophimae is nothing but a wanton backwoods Betty whose unprofessionalism and outright refusal to stay on brand jeopardizes the future of not only this podcast, but the podcast genre as we know it.
I was about to say this is like the sweetest email this is such a great supporter of the show.
Please, for the sake of the fine name of Mecha Joseph, get rid of Ophamae and replace her with someone more professional like Sarah Weissman. With the utmost sincerest regards, Simpenstein Esquire. P.S. This is the real OG Simpenstein. My original account got deleted for trolling fat women. Well,
I guess the people have spoken.
It doesn't seem like they like you very much. Taco Bell milk farts.
Is it because of my accent?
He just thinks that you're a negative force. Why would he think that?
I don't know. I mean,
I like this.
I will say one of the things that he did say, the professionalism is lacking, but this is my first podcast, Simp. Give me a little leeway.
He wants you off.
I guess.
He called you a backwoods Betty. Is that like the N-word for Appalachian people?
No. I mean, I don't have an issue with it, but
oh, okay.
Obviously he has an issue with me.
Okay. Well, I mean, you kind of just make it awkward. I mean, when he took the time out of he's like, I don't know if that guy Simpenstein's like rich. He's like owns all these companies and shit.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, and he fucking like took time out of his.
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe he's rich and he just doesn't like the poor class voice
probably,
that I have. Yeah,
it's okay. I mean, I'm not the richest guy, but I'm like a philosopher. You know, I can get away with that. I'm like a monk. You want to read this? You want me to read this other email to you?
I'm scared.
This one I'm a little weirded. I haven't read this. I'm a little weirded out.
You're a little weirded out. Okay.
Well, I am because it's come from a place called the Law Offices of Shang and Sung.
What?
It's from a lawyer's office.
A real one?
It has like, I guess. I mean, it looks legit.
Okay.
You want me to read? I'll read it.
Okay. It can't be worse than that one.
No. Dear Honorable Mecha Joseph.
Oh.
We of the law offices of Shang and Sung extend warmest greetings to you. We are a top-rated law office who specializes in representing hundreds of prominent Asian Americans. Huh. We have represented clients such as the victims of Japanese internment camps to prominent figures. What are you laughing about?
I think I know where this is headed. Go ahead.
Japanese? You think that's funny that we took a bunch of Japanese? Okay.
No. Did like that. I just think I know what's about to come up.
We have represented clients such as victims of Japanese internment camps to prominent figures such as George Takei and Jackie Chan. Wow. As our motto says, no Asian is too small for the great Shang and Sung to swoop in like a mighty dragon. We were alerted via anonymous correspondence in regards to a victim of prolonged conspiratorial harassments at the hands of an Appalachian hillbilly woman.
I fucking knew this was going to be about Uncle Trin.
It is. If our information is correct, the supposed victim goes by Uncle Trin. For what little information we have, we believe that there could have been another victim, of which it is some sort of Cantonese mail-order husband from a human trafficking ring. This victim is allegedly called Nick.
That's hilarious.
Most honorable and grand Mecha Joseph.
And grand?
We know that your wisdom and power rivals only our emperor. Show mercy to poor Uncle Tren and forward us his information so that we can bring justice for Uncle Tren and the sex slave Nick. May fortune cookies always bring you luck, Shang and Sung. What the fuck?
You know, that's hilarious.
No, it's not funny. That's nothing
hilarious.
Funny because we're trying to make a podcast and you and your fucking shit with your harassing Uncle Tren. Nick you didn't
You know what's really funny?
You didn't order Nick, right?
No. If anything, he thought I was going to be the obedient wife.
He
thought I was going to be the mail order.
I don't need fucking law on me.
You know what's absolutely hilarious about his guess, though, that Nick is sex trafficked?
What?
Is that my dad, when Nick used to work with my dad, they went into Home Depot and he went and told the workers
You've
that
already
Nick was
told
sex
this
trafficked.
story. Yes,
well,
that's how they know
haven't heard this story.
Yes, they have, right?
No, they haven't.
It's in an episode.
It hasn't come out yet.
Then don't spoil it. You want to tell that story
This
now?
is a little teaser. I'm not telling it.
A teaser. Oh,
I'm not telling it. But like the fact that he kind of dialed in on that.
Yeah, he did. Why do people keep getting this impression from your family that you're trafficking people, that you're driving coal miners out of the Appalachians, that Papa is messing around with uncontacted like what's going on?
We're bullies.
Yeah, you are. You are.
We're a little bit of a bullies.
I do not need this shit. So
come and get me.
We've got 2 emails and they're both about negative things regarding you. So what do we do about this?
There's only 2 things we
can do. You can change. Okay.
No, absolutely not. There's only 2 things we can do. I can either dig my heels in and be worse. Or I can take voice acting classes and fix this hillbilly accent. I don't think it's the accent.
It's not the accent. It's the accent. It's the behavior.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm sure that he'll address that. If I don't even want to.
I see how you guys act.
Anyways, if you'd like to...
Is this the cult? Have you been working on it behind the scenes?
What, the cult?
Yeah, the cult we mentioned in the Halloween episode.
So this is
Is these the Indian telemarketers that you hired?
No. So...
Are these real people?
So, if you'd like to contact us, please get in touch. I don't know. I'll just let you know, Simpenstein is a man of culture, and he's usually pretty good judge of character. So,
well, if we're using his judgment, then I guess I'm out.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the meat of this episode. This is something a concept that is so obscure to the average person.
Okay.
This is a world that most people will never enter, especially older people. I know we have some older viewers. Mm-hmm. A world of angels and demons, good and evil, villains and heroes. Mm-hmm. A world of people bullying and teasing people online.
Okay.
A world of trolling, of which I have participated and been a part of, not to degree of some people. Mm-hmm. The concept of what they call a lolcow, a target of internet harassment for the enjoyment of others, is what we'll be discussing today. And we will look at some of the most infamous of these targets.
Okay.
This is something that you came to me, and I'm talking out of order here a little bit. You came to me not too long ago and said, I think I don't remember what it was, I'll be honest, but I was on Discord and you're like, Joseph, have you heard of this guy, Chris Chan?
Yeah.
And it started playing like the Baldur's Gate theme in my mind, where it's like,
the red bar appears.
And I'm like, Ophamae child, you sweet country child.
I know, I really thought I introduced you to something.
No idea what the precipice in which you stand, the rabbit hole in which you, Alice, are about to descend. You don't know. And I didn't want to expose you to it. I'm like...
TikTok exposed me to it.
Well, I mean, Chris Chan is like the gateway drug.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's so many others. Fuck you, Discord. Fuck off. But, the precipice in which you stand on. And I want to make this clear. There's many people, probably more people than not, listening to this who are familiar with the characters on the internet and what trolling is and why it's good, why it's bad, all of that. And there are entire channels. There's an entire ecosystem of money, power, dichotomy going on right now with these people, these lolcows, with people making fun of them, people profiting, making shirts against the will. Police are involved. FBI are involved. There's SWAT teams. I'm serious.
Really?
People are going to jail. It's a war.
Well, I knew like people were getting swatted.
It is an art. It is an art of learning how to psychologically, remember we learned about?
Yes.
Psychological warfare. Getting into people's minds, getting into their lives, figuring out information, gathering it, and watching it for entertainment. It's no different. It's been... To even think that this is new. Rome did it. Rome did the troll people. Yeah. Greece trolled people. Cavemen probably did it. They probably had some, like, little deformed guy walking around and they were pointing at him laughing. It's been going on forever. If you read some of the John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, they would write into newspapers or pamphlets and they would troll each other. Yeah. Thomas Jefferson, and I'm not bashing any gender, whatever, but Thomas Jefferson, for the longest time, was trying to convince people that John Adams was a hermaphrodite.
A what?
Hermaphrodite. That is a person who was born with both sexes.
Oh, okay.
So it's a deformity, but he was trying to, like, it was like an insult.
Yeah.
Because he said that he didn't have the conviction, this is a quote, the conviction of a man, nor the grace of a woman.
Ooh.
So and he would get other people to do it. And it was like he would get someone to ghostwrite for him in another article. So there'd be two articles bashing this one guy. This isn't new. Yeah. Jerry Springer.
Oh, yeah.
The greatest example, which is one of probably my idol, my parents used to, when I was in my crib, this probably will explain a lot about me. This is true. My parents, to calm me down so they could go in the other room and do whatever they were doing, they would turn on, like, TV, and they just leave Howard Stern on. Yeah. You know, are you familiar with Howard Stern?
Yeah. I mean, I know him more from, like, America's Got Talent, but
Oh, yeah. Well, if you watch, he had something called the Whack Packers, and they were these, like, mentally challenged people and stuff. He would get on there. Yeah, it's trolling. It's the same thing, like autistic people. And that being mentally challenged is not a requirement to being a lolcow, as they say it, but like that's how I like.
But they're usually the first to get hit.
Yeah, they're the first. I'll get into this. There's so much psychology that goes into this. And this is the point I'm trying to make, and I probably should have said this off the back. This is not something we're going to cover a lot. For all its faults on this podcast, we are trying to educate people. We are trying to learn. There are so many people who look into these lolcow people and do it better than me, and to be honest, I'd never have cared enough to do it. There's people I know that it's their entire life. And I'm going to touch on it. We're going to talk about it because I do find it fascinating. I'm a lurker, usually. I just kind of lurk and I don't really interact with them.
So you said, like, you trolled a little bit, but you haven't gone to that extent before?
I've never showed up to anyone's house.
Yeah.
I've not trolled. I mean, it depends on your definition of trolling. I think there's rules. Well, let me read the definition of a lolcow. Okay. Again, Ophimae, this is such a big topic. I don't know if we're even gonna... This is like the entry course. I'm mainly thinking of like people like, I guess like even my dad, like trying to explain to him this is how I'm approaching this.
Okay. I mean, like I've seen like, I guess lighthearted trolling, I guess. Yeah. That's just the generation I grew up with, but like...
So this is the definition of lolcow in Urban Dictionary. Okay. Lol as in LOL and cow as in a bovine. A person or group of people laughed at for their actions that they take despite not trying to be funny. They may try to take themselves seriously but are often milked for laughs with or without their knowledge. So milked.
Okay.
So the biggest requirement, in my opinion, of being a lolcow is a lack of self-awareness.
Okay. Like how they said that they take themselves too seriously?
And they in their imaginations appear much different than they are. A lot of these people, they think they appear a lot different than they are. Mm-hmm. They often think that they're very intimidating. They think that they come off as very scary when they don't. They come off as ridiculous. They make a lot of threats. Anger is often associated. They get angry very fast. There are a lot of times people are, I guess, I don't even know if mentally challenged is the right word. Mm-hmm. The subject that we're going to discuss in greater length in a second is Christian Weston Chandler, mm-hmm. who has recently made CNN news the last few years for what he ended up doing. Yeah. He's a high-functioning autistic man. I know plenty of high-functioning autistic people that aren't evil and awful people. That's the thing that I want to differentiate. It doesn't matter if these people are
held back by
some kind of they still, and part of the reason why Christian Weston Chandler, or Chris Chan as he's called, is the way he is, and many of these lolcow people are the way they are, is because they don't face consequences, because they use their disability or their parents get him out of trouble. Mm-hmm. They never face consequences. Chris, we're spoiling it, but he got out of jail because he was autistic.
Really?
Do you know what he did?
You kind of told me already. But
we'll get to it. And
well, I mean, like I showed you that one video of him freaking out about his like house being on the internet. Like you showed me that, and then I was like,
we're gonna show that. We're gonna talk about.
I was like,
video.
I found this on TikTok like a couple weeks before, and then you told me, oh well, this is
it's the same person. Yeah.
Which he looks completely different.
Yeah, he does. He's transitioned into a woman.
I thought like. I guess their stance on it is switching a lot.
He like has admitted this, so I'm not. I don't care. I'm Mecha Joseph. I don't care if I offend people, but he transitioned to try to pick up women. He did. He literally said this. He's not attracted to men. He's trying to get laid and getting. He's literally he actually when he first did that and. Trans like rights and stuff were being fought. Chris Chan was being used by like I think it was Tucker Carlson or one of those kind of people as like a poster child for
trans people.
Yeah, how bad they are, because he was like, but like anybody who knows Chris Chan like I do, and no, I've never interacted with Chris Chan, but I've researched him. There is a like 89-part documentary about Chris Chan. Very well done. Mm-hmm. The guy who did it turned down a Netflix deal. It's that good.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No.
You should watch it.
Okay.
It goes over his entire life. He's the most documented human being on the planet because he put so much. You don't know anything about him, do you?
No. I've literally seen 2 videos.
So this is how this is hard to tackle.
Yeah.
And like when I went to even write a script for this, I'm going off cuff because I don't know how to like explain it.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenon that can only exist because of the internet.
Yeah.
I actually, in my mind, always called Chris Chan child of the internet because he is somebody that has been so interfered with that it has shaped him into something unimaginable. He's not the worst. There's one person
He's not the worst? Is this the rabbit hole you're telling me about?
Yes. There is somebody I know.
Okay.
That is the worst human being in the world. We're going to talk about him later. Have you ever been trolled, Ophamae?
Yeah.
You think so?
I mean, like, so when Instagram first started, I guess like every person my age when Instagram started, like I just kind of posted what I thought was cool at the time. And as like a kid in middle school, like my interests were kind of like used for comedy.
Right.
Like how most girls like, oh, you like Taylor Swift. Oh, you're just like everybody else. Or like if you know like the fall Christian girl trend.
Right.
Like the outfits that they wear. I'm sure you've seen it more as you've been down here.
Yes, I certainly have seen a lot of things.
Like that. Like, and like something that like a very famous woman has brought forth, Brittany Broski. She said that like, you know what? I am just like other girls. I do like those things. Who doesn't like a pumpkin spice latte? That kind of shit. Like, I've been trolled in that way.
Trolling has subcategories.
Yeah, I'm
It's
very
that organized.
light.
So there's like no life trolls. These are the people that stay at home when they get an alert of a video or something, and they have multiple accounts and their person's phone number and their social security number, and they constantly every day fuck with them. What you're discussing and again, I'm not being sexist. This is what it's called, girl trolling.
Yeah.
And it's just petty bitches being petty.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That sounds
it's
like
either
it.
Now, there's two sides of it. Sometimes it is the men, and sometimes they're just like, it seems more like they're trying to like look
Yes.
tougher. And so that I never really took to heart. Like if they were like,
It's still petty
pink
bitch
glitter.
trolling. Yeah.
Pink glitter. Oh, you like pink glitter? That's so basic. But like the ones that really hurt me, or at least hurt my feelings at the time, was like when women like did it.
Yeah.
Like when men do it, it's like, I'm not really going to listen to this guy. But when women compliment and or
Well, that's called buddy trolling, where they pretend to be your friend to get information.
oh, some of these girls didn't pretend to be my friend in the first place. They were just like, you should really take this down. This is very cringe and embarrassing for you. And I'm like, it's my diary now. Like, I'm going to use Instagram the way I want to.
Right.
It's my profile. You don't like it, you don't have to follow me. Like, that's always been my idea. But
I don't think you even like...
I've never been like, absolutely like, somebody's on me.
I'm thinking
24/7.
of somebody like convincing another person to shove a pencil up their penis.
No.
You've never... That's what
It's
I'm...
never been that extreme, no.
But I'm joking.
Okay.
But,
Are you?
Oh, I'm not joking about that.
Yeah.
But, so there's like an unspoken rule,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them is don't touch the poop, and that is try not to interact with the person you're trolling. Let them make their own content. Don't, and that's something I see going on today a lot, where people are like mercilessly harassing people. I don't like it when I see like a guy on the internet, and he's, you know, he's a good kid. He's got something. There's one kid in particular. I'm not even going to say his name, but he's got Down syndrome, and he likes to sing. He sings covers. Is it hilarious? Yeah. He's fucking yeah. Of course it's funny.
Are you talking about chestnuts roasting on an open fire?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
The guy with the heavy accent that was like the pen pal, and then everybody like, did you not see this?
No idea what you're talking about.
Okay,
You derailed everything.
He's like, he has a thick accent and he's singing Christmas covers.
No,
and
this
stuff.
guy, this dude has Down syndrome, and he sings covers, and people are being merciless to this guy.
Yeah,
Leave him alone. There's like, he doesn't deserve it. He's not evil.
yeah.
I only like messing with people, and like, this is something maybe people need to find out about me. I don't pick on people who don't deserve it.
Yeah.
I don't. And it's kind of an honor thing, I guess, as if I can, maybe I'm blowing smoke up my own ass, but
So that's one of the rules, is they have to deserve it.
I
Or you
personally
feel
think
that
that
way?
there's been shifting tides. People have become so merciless. It's not even funny. People are calling, like, say this guy, he's again, kid with Down syndrome, lives with his parents. They're calling SWAT teams over there. It's not fit. Like, there's no sport in that.
Yeah.
There's never been, even when I was there's the special ed kids. There's no sport in making fun of special ed kids. Like, leave them alone. They can't help it, you know. The
Yeah.
kid who wore a fedora to class,
That guy.
that guy got it,
Yeah.
but not that kid.
Or like the snitches.
Yeah, the snitches
Teacher
got the
pets.
worst, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, people who are traumatized by war and are, like, you know, old Vietnamese men who are just trying to live a life and don't need somebody, you know, you
What?
forgot. Yeah.
What? Don't need
the
somebody
law
what?
harassing them and trolling them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You act like you're I got trolled. Yeah. You're the worst. Anyways.
Takes one to know one.
You know, they used to say that about me. I was the worst.
I thought you were the best. The best at being the worst.
Yes. Anyways, so where did this start? I wanted to talk about, like, how I first saw this world. The internet used to be very mysterious. I don't even know if, like, you're talking about Omegle earlier. I don't even know if you can, like, you were of that age, because you're a lot younger than me, of how it just incomprehensible it was and how strange it was. The websites I found, the videos I found, and, like, we would email them to each other.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't link things back then.
Yeah, so you'd have to do
And-
an email chain.
I want to say I was playing World of Warcraft. I was young. I was like just like in high school, like senior, and I got an email forwarded to me with a video attached to it. And we're going to play the video. If you're listening to this, you can listen to it. And it's Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told, you got to watch this video.
Mm-hmm.
And like usually when someone sends you that, it's like some dude in the Middle East cutting another dude's head off, or it's like some girl, like 2 girls, 1 cup.
Yeah.
It's like someone, a goatse. You know what goatse is?
No, I thankfully dodged 2 girls, 1 cup.
Goatse was a guy, he was bent over, and he was spreading his butthole, and it was just like his butthole, and you would send that to your friends. And like,
I missed that one.
when you got caught with goatse, and your parents saw it, and you tried to explain that, that's like trying to explain Shakespeare to a caveman.
Yeah.
They're not going to understand the intricate humor that a goatse possessed of a gay man's gaping asshole.
Yeah.
The humor in that. They just don't understand it.
So we're talking early YouTube.
This is early YouTube. This is before it was monetized. I don't think there might have not have been likes or dislikes back then. But it was I don't know, it wasn't a YouTube video. The video, it's on YouTube now, but it was from something called the Quickie. And I'm like, is this a virus? So the Quickie is Christian Weston Chandler Wiki. He has an entire Wikipedia just dedicated to him. His teeth, there's a whole page about his dental hygiene, about his armpit hair, about his habits, about the dates he's gone on to, entire transcripts of his phone conversations. This is how documented this guy is.
Holy fuck.
So the video was sent to me from that website.
Mm-hmm.
And the title of it was something like Christian and his father talk about their house. Mm-hmm. This video changed the course of my life. Because up until that point, for some reason, it hadn't dawned on me that, like, people would post videos like this of people, like, screaming on the internet and arguing. It didn't dawn on me that you could argue with someone on the internet until that point. I know that's so naive to think, and, like, nowadays, what it's like, even, like, CNN and, like, these news stations and Twitter, or all these people going back and forth, it didn't dawn on me that this was a thing. And so what this was Christian Weston Chandler. Like we said, he's an autistic man. Back then, he was like 25. During the time of the video I'm going to play, he's young. He had to live with his parents, who are these old people. They had him very late. They're old, and there was Barbara, Bob. Those are his parents. And Chris Chan had done a house tour. His mom is a hoarder, and he did a house tour at the request of a fake girlfriend. It was a man, and they found out what his address was, and they found out that his mom was a hoarder, I think, and they were threatening to send the state over there and calling the house and threatening. And so Bob Chandler, his father, Chris Chan starts making a video to tell them to take his address off of the internet, and his father went in there to reprimand them. And so we're going to enjoy this. We're going to do it uninterrupted.
This is the one I've actually seen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd like to play it again just to get it in.
Just in case they are a little fuzzy on it.
Yeah, I'm very fuzzy on it. I've seen so much Chris Chan. It's 2 minutes and 21 seconds, and we're gonna play it. We're gonna discuss it.
This does not even deserve a captain's log introduction, because this is dead serious. The inside and outside tour I did a few months ago of my house. Everyone on the internet, my mother and my father are angry at me. They're blaming me. It's my fault. I admit it's my fault. I want everything about my house off the internet. I'll send in detectives. I'll send in police. I'll send in everything in my power to get it off the internet.
Listen to me.
Yes.
Listen to me.
Yes.
Shut that goddamn thing off. I don't care what you do. You get all that stuff off of there tonight.
I'm working on it.
Go work on it.
I am
Do
working.
you realize something? Let me tell you. If the health department of Greene County sees those videos that you put on the damn internet, they could condemn our house and we would have to move out of it.
I see.
You go get that goddamn stuff off of there and fast.
I'm working on it. I was making a video for you to tell everybody to get the images off of the internet. It's out my control.
Oh, you get them off.
It's out my control. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to
You
go.
loaded them up there. You unload them.
I'm working on it.
Go do it.
I am working. I am doing it. I'm sorry.
Get in here and do it.
I
I'll be up all night with you if I have to. You won't get any sleep till that stuff's on.
I'm working on it.
Get in there and start.
I'm working on it. Let me do these stupid videos. I can tell everybody at my command to get everything, help me get everything off of the internet about our house.
I don't want to get kicked out of my house by the health department. And what you just did was stick a knife in our back and kill us.
All right, let me just.
Get that stuff off of there.
I'm
Get it off of there fast.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So yeah, please get everything off of the internet now, 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 now! Curse the trolls. Peace to everybody else.
No words, right?
No.
Isn't it? It's insane, right? And like for people who can't see it, like I know people are listening to this. 25-year-old man. He's in a room of toys.
Yeah.
Like children, like Legos and stuff, because he's apparently high functioning autistic, and he's got a medallion. This is one of the most prominent things about him. There's no way I could talk about like everything this guy.
Yeah, but the medallion.
He invented a character called Sonichu.
Uh-huh.
And it's Sonic and Pikachu mixed together. And he wears a medallion because he believes, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. He thinks he's a god. He thinks he has magic powers. But it's just his father. His father's like 70 years old. Chris Chan's the product of an affair. Like the mom and the dad both left their spouses at late age and had him. And they can't handle him because they don't, think about this old man. Like he doesn't know what the internet, just the concept that he thinks it's like a sticky note. That he could just take the address down. It's everywhere. I know what his address is. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Just like, something about that. I remember watching that in like my little room. I had one screen back then. It was little. And it had like WoW or something playing like on the mini screen. And it was just like, do you realize that the Department of Greene County, you put a knife in our back and kill us? Like, I just remember I watched it over and over, and like me, I'm on the phone with my friends. It was like one of those like Nokia phones.
Yeah.
And I'm just like talking to them, like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah.
And then they start telling me more about this guy, and this changed me because
I'm sure.
I hadn't even thought of this. I'm like, you can do this? You can like find out people's addresses, and
it's insane how easily he fell for it in the first place.
Like again, he's not able to recognize when people are lying to him. That's what's funny about him.
Yeah, but like my favorite part is when he's like getting really upset after his dad just literally smacked. Like, why would he post that if his dad comes in, ruins the recording, and is like reprimanding him in front of the camera, and then he just turns around and he's like, "So get it off the internet now." Like,
why would he put it on the?
That.
This is like my mind.
Yeah.
Like young Joseph, and I'm like thinking, why would he post this on the internet?
Nah, he's one take. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big thing about Christianity. It was one take.
Yeah.
So now you're thinking like they're bullying this guy, like Joseph's making fun of him. This guy is a monster.
Yeah.
He is a sexual predator.
That I've heard.
Women are there's so many examples of it. It's like.
Well, I mean, even if the dad didn't say where they were staying, like what county, like his accent is very Appalachian. So even if like Chris Chan didn't post that video, they probably still could have filtered through it with how often he was just saying stuff.
He doesn't care. He's from Ruckersville, Virginia, if it matters. But here he is in blackface.
Jesus Christ.
He's
Was that an old video?
Oldish.
Like old in
He's been on the internet since like it began. Like
yeah.
He God, he's done so many things. He was at one point jacking off into Fanta, orange soda, and drinking it because he was trying to maintain his sperm count.
What the fuck?
He was he's disgusting. He's very weird with women.
He's very weird with himself, it sounds like.
He's very uncomfortably predatory with women.
Uh-huh.
I could, again, go down the list of people that we're building up to something.
Yeah.
And I'll just say it because I don't want to come off like I'm not going to talk about Lolcows much on this channel, but like, Chris Chan ended up having incestually abusing his mother. He raped his mother, repeatedly, and he was arrested for it. And this is how like the story ends.
Yeah.
20 years on the internet. And I'm convinced, and people will argue, people think, I mean, this is philosophy. Like, people debate. If no one had messed with Chris Chan, would he have been fine? If there was no internet, I don't think that. I think judging by the way he's acting, if he had been given the opportunity and there weren't enough people there to mess with him and keep him in check and fight him back and beat him back, I think he would have done something terrible to somebody else.
He would have been way worse.
I think he would have been worse. His mother in herself was she didn't deserve anything that happened to her, but she was a monster. She did terrible things to him and manipulated him. It is such a story. Gino Samuels is the name of the man that did the documentary. If you are at all interested, it is literally hours of entertainment for free. Gino, Geno, Samuels. I would suggest watching it.
Yeah.
But with the tragedy of Chris Chan comes the comedy.
Yeah.
The trolling arcs, there are arcs, like seasons. There was the man in the pickle suit, where they found out he's very homophobic too. He hates gay people. He talks about wanting to round them up and kill them and stuff. It's probably because his dad was racist and he says N-words. He says all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But he hated pickles because they reminded him of penises, and so somebody on the internet started dressing up as a pickle, and he was the man in the pickle suit, and he would convince Chris Chan that he was putting up billboards to stop Chris Chan from having sex. A big part of Chris Chan's life was his love quest, as he called it. The love quest started while he was in community college. He put up a big sign of requirements for women to have sex with him and just put it up because his mom convinced him he was so handsome and all the women wanted him. And it was like, I don't want any black women. I don't want any Asian women. They have to look like this. And he put this very offensive sign up. And Mary Lee Walsh, and it's insane that I couldn't tell you like the capital of I don't know. I can't think of a country.
Mary Lee Walsh.
This lady, she was the president of the college or something. She worked in the college, and she became his biggest enemy during that arc.
Yeah.
Where people were watching this because he would make vlogs and talk about it. Mary Lee Walsh, that damn Mary Lee Walsh. And, his mom and the HR department, he was autistic. So even though he was harassing women, he was going up to them, bothering them, and being weird with them.
They're like, he just doesn't understand.
But Mary Lee Walsh stood her ground and got him kicked out of the college and expelled, and he never let it go. To this day, he still talks about this woman. It happened 20 years ago.
Good for her.
I'm bouncing around because this is how this podcast is. But the man in the pickle suit, in order to discourage Chris Chan from only ever going on a date, they set up an operation. The man in the pickle suit got a girl, I think it was his girlfriend, to go on a date to the Ruckersville, Virginia mall. This is recorded. You can watch this video. So this girl goes on a date with Chris Chan to the mall at the food court. Chris Chan brought his dad. That guy in the video went with Chris, and they sat in the food court, and he was in between them, and he was talking to this girl, this really creepy, really creepy. And this girl was there sitting. And as the date ended, the boyfriend, the man in the pickle suit, came into the mall with his sunglasses on and sweet-talked the girl and grabbed her hand and walked away with her. And Chris Chan, like Darth Vader, went, "No! That damn man in the pickle suit. How am I not supposed to think that is funny?"
Yeah, that's hilarious.
There's that. There's Clyde Cash. Clyde Cash was his Joker.
Okay.
No. That's the Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
That's more of intelligent. Clyde Cash was a troll that, he's the one who probably put his address up. He constantly harassed him. There was another troll called Blue Spike who convinced that Blue Spike is hated. Blue Spike is a example of going too far. This kid named Blue Spike convinced Chris Chan to cut up his Sonichu, the medallion, and put it up his butt on camera.
And he did it.
Did it, yeah. And
I really want to see a scan of this kid's brain. Well, this guy's brain.
Chris Chan or Blue Spike?
Chris Chan.
Blue Spike
I bet
disappeared.
you it shrunk as shit.
He's a terrible guy. So people don't like him because it made people feel sorry for Chris Chan.
Yeah.
Because Chris Chan was bawling and crying and shame and it just was too far.
Yeah.
And he disappeared. No one ever heard from him again. And I'm talking about the trolls. These are the identities. If I'm Mecha Joseph, he was Blue Spike. Clyde Cash, he would say, Chris Chan, I kidnapped. So he would invent a girlfriend, Julie, or I don't know their names.
Yeah, just
and he would say, I kidnapped your girlfriend, Chris Chan. I'm only releasing her if you clean your room and get a job. Clyde Cash, interestingly enough, that guy, that troll, would try to get him to...
touch grass.
Yeah, and try to get him and, like, convince him to do the right thing. You know, it never happened. It never worked because you can't change the guy. Who's the other one? There was one called Asperchew. And so a guy pretended to have... So Christian Weston Chandler was autistic, and he would make Sonichu comments and draw this character. And this other guy started drawing him and he called him Asperchew, Asperger's. And Chris Chan got mad about that. The greatest villain in Chris Chan's life, and probably the second greatest troll of all time, was Liquid Chris. Liquid Chris was, if you played Metal Gear Solid, the video game. No. In that video game, there's Solid Snake, and then there's Liquid Snake. That's their code names, these characters, and they're clones of each other.
Yeah.
So Liquid Chris basically pretended to be Chris Chan. And he was a handsome guy. The guy grew up to be a doctor. That's how this guy is, like in real life.
Yeah.
But he pretended to be Christian, and they got in arguments. I'm the real Christian Weston Chandler. No, I am. And he would do an impression of Chris Chan. He's like, I invented Sonichu. No, I invented Sonichu. Yeah. I got trolled by the man with the pickles. No, you didn't. I was me. And Chris Chan's mind couldn't comprehend this.
Yeah.
And so they went back and forth. Another aspect of Chris Chan, he wanted to be a he thought he was very good at, like, good musician. And so they had a sing-off. And I'm trying to find it. I might play a little bit. I might play it at the beginning of this episode. And that actually might be perfect. Sorry. This was back when it was funny.
Yeah.
It's not funny anymore, obviously, but like...
Well, trends have changed. Comedy as a whole has changed.
And I might play a little bit of this song at the beginning, so if you listen to this, so you heard it. Yeah, so Chris Chan would cover songs, and then they did like a music battle, and Chris Chan would sing like how he sings. Liquid Chris would then have to respond with a song, and his song would be, he would actually play the guitar.
Yeah. And
like be good at it. And it was the funniest thing. Let's pause real fast. We're back after a short minute. I would be remiss if I hadn't shown Ophimae the Chris Chan singing. She hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
And I showed her a little bit of Liquid Chris, which I don't know if they can put on this or not. But Chris Chan would get so mad.
Because he's copying him.
Yeah. There's so much that happened. Eventually, these people grew up and they're like, we're done. Yeah. And what happened and this is all opinions, but Chris Chan started getting what the trolls called white knights.
White knights?
Yes, people that defended him. A lot of the time it was middle-aged women who were mothers and like bored or whatever, and they're like, oh, this poor man, not knowing what the hell they're... Yeah. So they would defend him, they would report him. He went through all these phases. His father died, and Chris Chan was eventually left alone in the house with his mother, Barbara. And as I'm pointing out, how far is too far? Chris Chan, his whole life, despite what you say, he's messed with people on the internet. What happens when you have that? Was it people fighting him that kept them from doing anything bad?
Or did it kind of like...
Or was it always there and that bolstered it? I think it was a good thing. Eventually what happened was some trolls came along that touched the poop, as they say. So compare somebody pretending to be him and them having funny like sing-offs on the internet. Yeah. To what I'm about to describe, where there's a group of trolls that called themselves the Idea Guys. It's very strange. I know these names are strange for especially someone not initiated into this world. They convinced Chris Chan to they're getting money from him. His social security check, he had disability check. So they started extorting money from him. They started extorting sex videos from him. And they convinced him, and I'm summarizing, that he was possessed by Mewtwo, the Pokemon, Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonichu, and they lived in his body, and that he was actually a god. And that something called the dimensional merge was going to happen, where all the cartoon characters were going to come to life in our world. This is when I stopped thinking he was funny and stopped watching him, because it's stupid. Yeah. There's nothing funny about that. But these guys thought it was so funny to convince him that, like, Superman and Peter Griffin were real. Yeah. And this is where the argument of him being schizophrenic comes into view. Obviously, probably he might be. I don't know. I don't know if he believes it.
Yeah.
I know I'm giving you bullet points, and is it
Yeah.
going over your head a little bit?
A little bit.
So,
but I mean, I can see him also like falling into that trap a little bit because he's so isolated too. And
Yeah.
you just said that his dad had died and he was with his mom only
Well,
in this house.
remember
and
how
he
he said
doesn't
that
have much
when
interaction.
when people die,
yeah.
in his mind, they become cartoon characters in this other dimension. So he was saying that his father was, and I know this is funny. I don't think this part's funny, but they're calling his father Bobachu, as in Pikachu and Bob. And he drew a picture of his father as a Pokemon and was trying to force his mother to take pictures with it and like Photoshop it in. Just saying that Bob Chew was still, here he is. Oh, here it is. There's his senior mother. See how he drew it like a Pokemon card?
Mm-hmm.
And that's his mother in a moo-moo. His mother started to develop dementia. There's theories that she's faking it.
Yeah.
She doesn't, just to get, welfare. But I mean, he's assaulted people too. He assaulted someone in a game shop, I believe.
Like sexually assaulted or hit somebody?
He hit people.
Yeah.
He's been to jail.
I was gonna say autistic people do have, like, they'll hit, like, especially if they're low functioning.
He's not. He's high functioning.
I know he is,
I have to disagree. I'm going to stand up. I'm not autistic, obviously. But I'm going to stand up for him because I know some autistic people, and they don't hit people unless they're not taught. He wasn't taught not to hit people. The same thing with me or you. Mm-hmm. Or you. I'm sorry, you or I. If I was taught to handle my problems that way, I probably would hit people. Same with you. And like they just needed to be taught a different way. Mm-hmm. But
it mirrors what you said earlier about, like, some people will use it as a crutch.
Right.
And especially, like, if they're really high functioning, sometimes that seems to be the case.
Yeah.
It's used as a crutch. But then also, like, I know people and I have family and I know
I'm not
things.
trying to shame you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I know. And
I would never shame you.
Sometimes, like, it is more of a stumbling block than you really see it is, but it's not. It's not Christian level.
Is it assault? Is in like full on, like trying to run someone over, or is it like just kind of they spurg out?
Spurg out.
There you go.
It happens when
That's
it's
the
like
difference.
overstimulated. When like it could happen if there's too many voices. Like you go, like, to a restaurant and like they hear everyone talking at the same time. That gets them either hyper or it gets them like uncomfortable, and then that's when you can sometimes have them like be physical.
But they never whipped out a can of pepper spray and sprayed it at a GameStop employee because the Sonic the Hedgehog's arms were changed from blue to white.
No,
that's what he did. That's why he did it.
Okay.
But that's the exact reason. So
I'm not trying to sympathize with him at all.
No,
I'm just
I know
saying,
that.
like, unfortunately, like,
we don't have to be like this stupid, like, gaslight. Like, oh, I'm not. I know what you mean, and
I just want to make it clear
we shouldn't care what other people think.
My place on this podcast seems very temporary.
It might be, but what you need to understand is this is a very light dusting of what his story is.
Yeah. Well, there's no way we can get it all.
You can't.
Yeah.
I will. So the idea guy thing happened, and believe it or not, some old trolls of his band together and found out who they were and blackmailed them into leaving him alone.
Really?
That wasn't enough, though.
Yeah.
A girl came along. Her name, I'm going to say her name, Isabella Janka. Janky. People really don't like this person. She has been online. She's claimed to have boiled hamsters alive. She seems like some kind of sociopath to me. Mm-hmm. I know that's the pot calling the kettle black. I'm not passing much judgment on her because you don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
I will say this. Her father is an FBI agent. And every evidence of her being involved with Chris Chan, for this thing I'm about to say, was taken off the internet promptly. She is the person that many people believe convinced Chris Chan to rape his mother. Through conversations and edging on. I don't think that, though.
Yeah.
Is this girl innocent? No. I've listened to her talk. I listened to an interview with her. I can tell a liar when I hear it. I'm good at that. I'm good at picking things out. I think she definitely was trying to get in on the trolling. Don't touch the poop.
Yeah.
If she boiled hamsters, if she actually did that, I don't really know if she did. That's what I've heard. That's what she claimed, but she could have just been she claimed she was just trying to be edgy. I don't know. I don't like the idea that her father is an FBI agent and can just take things off the internet, though.
Yeah.
This is all conjecture. None of
Yeah.
it might be real. I don't want anyone to think that. And she recorded several phone calls with Chris admitting to having sex with his mother. This is after, like, a transition to being a woman, all this stuff. I mean, this is 20 years in the making that we're talking about in less than an hour.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about others. And I don't really know. I don't think I have a stance on any of this. I'm more of just pointing it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have... I mean, I've given my opinions, but I don't know if I care.
Yeah.
Either way. There are a lot of people who really don't like this girl. Who really, really hate her for what she did. And, like, really, really... Me, it's more of the FBI thing, if that's true. I think people censor the internet too much. There definitely should be, like, obviously harming children and things like that. You should be allowed to say something that someone doesn't agree with without it getting taken down.
Yeah.
And if this girl actually did what she did, then it needs to be talked about and exposed, in my opinion. But...
if she did what she did, that's heinous.
You know, she tried to write. She's, like, writing articles for a website.
Is she?
Yeah. Trying to move past it. It went over about as well as you could imagine.
Yeah.
But, like, every time someone does something, it just gets taken off the internet. There was a website called The Kiwi Farms. I'm not a practitioner of that, but it's a very hated website. It's a gossip column where they talk about lolcows. The people have called it transphobic and racist. It's run by a guy called Joshua Moon who runs a podcast called Mad at the Internet. I've listened to it. I'm ambivalent to the whole situation. I'm just being honest. I got better things to do than talk to people. I'm more concerned with educating the general public and following what Caleb is doing and exploring philosophy and mysteries of the universe. But that website was the keystone in the Christian Weston Chandler, Chris Chan lore. And when that happened and they started talking, they made a whole page dedicated to this girl, her activities, all this stuff. It went down.
Yeah.
It was taken down. It hasn't ever, like, I don't want to quote what I don't know, but to my knowledge, it was never reinstated in the manner. It's like on, like, ClearNet or something weird. Like, it's hard to find. You can't just get on Google and find it. They just took it down. Is it because of the FBI? I don't fucking know. But this is conspiracy.
It's a lot more probable than being
you
able
go,
to do it by herself.
But listen to me. Mm-hmm. Chris Chan was talked about on CNN. He raped his mother. He went to prison. While he was in prison, the only book he had to read was the Bible and the Quran, because that's the only all they'll give him. So he started writing letters. He was sending letters to his trolls and, like, people pretending to be women. And he decided he was Allah and Jesus. And so he thinks he's a god. And they just let him out because they couldn't, I don't know. They couldn't prove he had molested his mother or what. She was too old to stand trial, and he had already been in there long enough for incest charges, so they just let him out. And now he's just back on the internet making stupid videos about Sonichu.
Yeah, that's how I got introduced to it.
And I want you, like, this might sound like such a rabbit hole and so strange to talk about, but I want you to consider this. Listeners, consider this. You've got that video I showed you. Now. Mm-hmm. Do you realize that the Greene County, that led to the FBI covertly taking things off of the internet, to this guy being put on CNN and international news?
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen? How do you, like, I watched that happen. I watched it.
Yeah.
It's insane for me to, like, I don't know, maybe I'm getting more emotional about it than I should be.
Well, yeah, because you were there, not maybe for the founding of it all, but you were there early on. And, like, that's surreal to see, because, like, you want to talk about your naiveness.
Right.
About, I didn't know people could argue on the internet.
Right.
I didn't know that this, like, you could
what
get
it turned
trolled
into,
or da-da-da-da.
yeah.
Well, then, that same vein, I didn't know that the internet was going to be real world news. I didn't know that this guy who was just doing shit on the internet was going to end up being, like, the biggest story of whatever.
I know people...
whichever year that
have
was.
a high opinion of me. I'm humbled by... I've seen the comments. I think people have a lot higher opinion of me than I deserve. You would talk about being naive. Like, just looking at that. Like, that... I remember the day... I was, like, watching live the day he got arrested.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, Ethan Ralph, live streaming it. I was like in the chat. I never get in this guy's, I don't like this guy that filmed it, and I never get in his chat. And I'm watching it. I'm like, holy shit, this is real.
Yeah.
And there's
What year was that?
Oh, it was, I think 2-3 years ago.
Oh, really?
It was, the documentary about him was still being done.
Yeah.
The day that happened, I'll never forget this. The guy, Geno Samuels, I mentioned, he posted a selfie of him, just his face when he figured out he molested his mom. He was just like, it was a really funny picture. That was like the funniest. No one thought it's not funny. There's nothing
but like
funny.
that was like a little.
There's channels dedicated to just talking about Christian.
Yeah.
There's channels archiving him. People have compared him to Andy Warhol. Andy, he's an artist. He's before your time.
Yeah.
Ophamae. But this is why when you like said something about Christian, I'm like, oh, holy shit. I heard that like, oh, don, don, you know.
Yeah.
But he's only one of a million people that are like this. I generally don't see the thing about it with me, and I'm like this with most people, is like I like figuring people out. I like looking at them and understanding them, and I'm quite good at it, figuring things out about people. And I always think to myself, the same thing with Christian. What will happen next? Mm-hmm. What will happen next? Will the health department of Greene County actually come and evict these fucking people? And if so, is he going to film it? Do I get to see that? Oh, there was a house fire. His house caught on fire one time.
The house
house they're living in, and all like his toys burned, and like,
well, there's probably a plug that wasn't fully plugged in. And
it was a
Keurig.
Apparently, it was a Keurig that
a Keurig.
Well, it was broke, like sparked or something.
Oh.
So that is sorry, I'm adjusting my chair. That is a brief intro to Christian Weston Chandler.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that documentary.
He's only...
And this is just the surface, too. And
That's
these
just
are
the
broad
surface.
strokes.
Yeah.
Did you say that he was the most recorded person on the internet's history?
I think there's more
there?
There's more information known about him than like George Washington or like Barack Obama or like Theodore. Like he literally every day people just document him.
Wow.
The closest thing to like relay him to, I compared the documentary about him to the Tiger King.
Oh.
It's that rip roaring like the man in the pickle suit. It doesn't make sense. It's something that I just don't know if older generations could grasp.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I said this, but it's like Howard Stern show.
Yeah.
That's what it
you
reminded me.
did.
Like the prank calls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There is one person, and I don't like, we're segueing away from Christian.
Yeah.
I don't even like talking about him. I don't interact with this guy. I don't talk to him. I don't try to, because the people who troll him are extreme.
Yeah.
And he deserves it. It's good and evil.
Yeah.
It's Cain and Abel. I truly believe this is evidence of true good and evil. He is a man named Chance Wilkins.
Mm-hmm.
He goes by Cyrax.
Yeah.
Cyraxx. He is he has something wrong with him, and he's deformed. I've shown you pictures of this guy, the bald guy, and he's like this attic dwelling guy that like lives with his grandparents, and he's a pedophile. He's just this fucking monster. He's the most like evil guy, and I don't know if he's. People who know me know I'm not that naive. Mm-hmm. I think people who know me would know that I just wouldn't call someone evil, especially me. Yeah. Of all people, this guy, I'm telling you, he is not capable of any empathy, and he should have no sympathy and none whatsoever. Yeah. He is a rapist. He raped a blind kid. He was like 20. He's 34, 35 now. He was like a 25-year-old, and they were still letting him in high school. And he raped a blind kid. And he is a habitual pedophile. So, like, the thing is, like, a lot of times you hear about pedophiles I fucking hate pedophiles. Mm-hmm. And you hear about them. And they're talking to kids. This guy sends his penis and like the most vulgar things just imaginable to kids on like TikTok. in Fortnite. He gets in. He will infiltrate. He'll play Fortnite and get into like kids' DMs, try to befriend them because they don't know what he looks like.
Yeah.
And then he just sends like his penis, boy and girl. So just imagine that you're like 12-year-old boy, like daughter.
Yeah.
And this deformed little monster is sending like. It's very
well. I mean, we talked about Omegle. I don't have to imagine it.
Yeah,
it's
that, and I believe if he had the opportunity to, and he was put in front of the right people, and he was left alone in the right situation, he would absolutely try to molest kid. It's proven.
Yeah.
However, he has been beat down and terrified to the point where he will not leave his house. Because of these people on the internet that harass him.
Well, you showed me the fight video.
Yes. Well, the thing is, as bad as he is,
yeah,
and this is some great irony, he's a rageaholic. This little guy, he's like, he's 4 foot tall guy, or whatever, however, not that, he believes that he's like a lot tougher and meaner than he is. He's kind of like a chihuahua. Mm-hmm. And
Can I see a picture of him again? I don't remember.
Yeah, he talks a lot of shit.
I remember he looked like Gollum a little bit.
He looks like Gollum.
Yeah.
I don't even...
Gollum looks better than he did.
I don't want to even... I cannot stress that I'll probably never talk about this guy again.
Mm-hmm. And he's never gone to jail?
Nope. Well, he did. He got arrested.
Okay.
But his dad is also a rapist. Raped a 14-year-old girl. There he is. He's yelling.
He gives me so much
He's creepy,
ick.
isn't he? He's a monster.
Yeah.
I would think maybe like in how long we've known each other a little bit. I know it's not been a long time. You know me well enough to know that I wouldn't just accuse somebody of being evil for no reason. He's evil. He's like a demon.
Yeah.
And this guy, like, if he had the power to, what he would be capable of. But if it's these fucking people on the internet, and this is why it's the funniest stuff I have ever seen. And maybe it's because I have a dark, black, evil sense of humor, just a nasty, where I find this kind of stuff funny, them just like messing with this like absolute degenerate. The big thing about him is he wants to be a rapper.
Yeah.
He's 2 things. He wants to be a rapper and a professional e-racer.
E-racer?
Someone who plays racing games.
Oh, like a driving sim.
Driving sim.
Okay, yeah.
He's blind. Or not blind. His eyes point 2 different directions.
He's cockeyed.
So he can't see well enough to do it. So he's convinced he's a world famous rapper. He's the best one in the game. You've heard what he sounds like when he sings.
Yeah.
It's like Chris Chan. It's very bad. Mm-hmm. And so his primary troll, his nemesis, his joker, his devil, whatever you want to call it, is this big guy. He's like the solar opposite of Cyrax. He's this really tall dude, the beard. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say his real name because I'm not sure if it's like public knowledge, but his handle is Music Biz Marty. Mm-hmm. And he has convinced Cyrax that he is a music producer.
You've
he's
touched on him,
and they go back and forth in this duet of like, he like will get on Cyrax's side and like expose him for like talking to a kid. And how many times does he need to be exposed before something's done about it?
Yeah. Do you think they're using his like... Because this guy, like, I would say Chris Chan is high functioning, like, kind of is aware of what he's doing to an extent.
Cyrax, I believe,
I think Cyrax is, like, completely just does not understand at all.
He probably has an IQ of about 85.
Like, he could actually get away with, like, saying insanity.
He probably...
In front of a juror.
Yes, I was going to say that. As a matter of fact, he did.
Oh, my fucking God.
In a way. And they let him off the hook because of... He's been arrested, and they've just... He got arrested for beating up his elderly grandmother. Beat his grandmother to a pulp. And she's just like, oh, he just got mad at me.
It's these fucking enablers.
Well, that's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
I was getting at. But
okay,
yeah. No.
It just clicked for me.
And so he has an IQ of 85. I agree. I think that's the guess.
He's Forrest Gump.
Do you know
maybe less? I think Forrest Gump had a higher IQ.
Yeah, I do.
I know in the movie it said he's 75.
Do you know anything about it? Is he?
Yeah, in the movie it is. He's like 70 or 75 in the movie.
So Cyrax has a rudimentary understanding of how technology works. He can upload videos and stuff. He was enabled, and he just has a predilection being a pedophile and just he's just evil. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
Some people are just bad. That's something our society needs to get.
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming from me. I mean,
yeah.
He has an IQ of about 85 or around that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has progeria, which is something that prematurely ages people.
Okay.
Mild progeria, and he definitely has some fetal alcohol. I think his mother apparently had some not Down syndrome. Sorry, I was thinking about that guy I was talking about earlier. She had some problem. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They don't change his bed. They've never washed his sheets as long as he's been alive. He's covered in bed bug bites. You could see the bed bugs crawling in the background, and mice nibble on him.
Ew! What the fuck?
Yeah, he calls them his little friends. Everything that is good and cleanly, he is not. He doesn't wipe his butt.
Is he fucking Beelzebub?
I don't know. He has, that people call him that.
Yeah.
He has
the Lord of Flies?
He doesn't bathe. His grandma has to bathe him. He got one of the funniest things that happened is, I know that he got an infected penis, and he was sent a picture to a kid, so they got, Marty got a picture, and they were discussing it. And he got on there and was yelling, why are you guys showing my penis? Because of the bed bug bites and the fleas.
Yeah.
And, people look at this guy and they're like, oh, poor Cyrax, poor Chance Wilkins. It doesn't. No, you don't understand. He had white knights. Cyrax has so many white knights, it's a joke. People want, I'm getting it.
Yeah, sorry.
People give him thousands of dollars because they feel sorry for him. Let me keep talking.
I'm getting a little heated about it.
You should be. Because
people will fucking ignore vets on the street.
Yes.
Don't even look at them. Fuck them.
They also ignore me. I'm much better than Cyrax. They should give me the money.
Yeah.
Think of the things we could do. As Simpenstein says, this podcast can change the world.
Yeah.
Anyways, what was I going on about? So he lives in filth.
Yeah. And people fucking pay him.
He lives in filth. He has bed bug bites all over him. He doesn't bathe. He wipes his butt with a rag and throws it on the ground. He just uses it over and over. There's theories that he pisses in his room. He has butt worms, and he picks them out on stream.
Oh my god!
You want to? I can show you that video right now. Why not?
Actually,
you want to see?
I know my face is showing complete utter horror, but I am a little.
I'll tell you. Let's not. I'll show you in a minute.
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt the stream again or the recording again. We're not streaming. And I mean, it's grandma's to blame. She shouldn't. They've tried to get him evicted. They've harassed the landlady. They've this guy's a pedophile. He's a monster. They've stolen his lawn furniture. They've swatted him, which I don't agree with swatting, but if you're going to swat someone, it should be Chance Wilkins.
Yeah.
God forbid he listens. Because he's active. He will find, I mean, we're small right now.
Yeah.
But it's likely,
he'll find out.
We have more subscribers than Marty does.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
We have more subscribers than Chance.
Okay.
I'm serious. We're bigger than him.
Okay.
I just realized that. Oh, shit.
How fucking disgusting. This is like caveman meets actual literal fucking, fantasy character. I don't even know. I can't even imagine,
Yeah. Well, let me... I'm still talking about him.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll address him at the end of this segment. Because I just realized I think we're bigger than him. And it's likely he might, because I know, let's just say some of the people I know in the comments do fuck with Cyrax. You're
not going to bless me for coughing?
No.
The devil could get my soul.
I am the devil. Anyways, there's the Cyrax, he's this trolls. He has Music Biz Marty. He had one called Tangerine Cat, that there was a woman that pretended to be his fiance. That was funny. And just to get information on him, to stop him and distract him from being a fucking... These people keep him so occupied that because if he could go out of the house and see a little girl or something and walk over in the yard and start groping her.
Yeah.
And you think that I'm being exaggerating.
No.
This is the society.
To be that...
When a very short amount of time ago, violence was so prevalent, you'd see a corpse.
Yeah.
Every day. People hung, people beat up.
Well, that was entertainment.
Was it better? I don't know. But that is something I've noticed, that violence was completely subtracted from our society. I don't know. Is it better? Is it worse?
We've kind of touched on this.
People believe, I mean, if you want to really get into it,
Yeah.
they think it's because, and that, not a negative, I'm neutrally saying this, our society has become more feminine. Women are less violent than men. Well, I don't know that, but like,
Majority.
But they're saying that it's because of that influence we've become less violent. But people always need violence.
Yeah.
We are violent, terrible. I realize this and I embrace it. That's why I watch Cyrax get fucked with. That's why they enjoy it. This is the new violence. You understand? But in my mind, I can't imagine it's okay for him to walk around and do the things that he's done and no one realistically stop him. I know you brave trolls long into the night. Do you toil to keep chance from hurting and victimizing children?
But they're really the only ones doing
But
anything.
yes, the police don't give a shit. The police they have body cam footage. They go over to his house almost every day. They have been there 149 times this year, last time I checked. And that was in September or August. 149 times they get called over there. That's you're paying for the gas and the wage and the clothes that it takes to talk to this deformed little ingrate. I'm getting...
Where's the pro-choice crowd saying, like, this guy should be... No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Like, I'm absolutely... And again, I'm being neutral,
Cyrax.
too.
Cyrax has feuded with major rappers. Danny Brown, the rapper.
You're fucking
On
with
his...
me.
No, he feuds with him. He feuds with Bass Shaman.
Some people deserve to die.
I
Some people... Like, I don't want to waste my tax
So,
money having him in prison.
Here's the thing that...
I also don't want to buy the cops gas.
It's better to leave him alive because despite what we're saying, he is in a constant state of horror and torment. He is scared. He is so miserable. Is it better to kill a man for a crime or to leave him miserable for the rest of his life? And his grandmother is going to die and he'll have nowhere to go. He will either be homeless or in a group home or be adopted.
I mean, sure, if you want to watch that play out, but honestly, like, okay, yeah, let's let him suffer a little bit longer. But when he's homeless, I know he'll die. We'll get an article about some other homeless man beating him the shit out of him because he's going to try something. He will die. He will die soon.
And
that's my prediction. That's
another
calling
theory.
the tarot cards and getting all the fucking
That's
planets in line.
another theory. And I want to shout out Marty. I've watched Music Biz Marty a lot. He's doing God's work in me. Another guy, I think there was Burger Boy, like a talking cheeseburger. There's a guy called William Glory Hole. William Glory Hole. If Marty's like the Joker, William Glory Hole is like Brainiac.
Yeah.
He like is the intelligent villain. He really fucking goes after. Like he gets all the police body cam footage. Masshole Reports. I think Kate was her name. Was another one that trolled him. There's one called CVG. Oh, the Xbox.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you about this. So Cyrax has an Xbox. This was his tool used to talk to kids because he's playing Fortnite. He doesn't have a gaming PC.
Yeah.
So, what happened was there were some trolls. And this is a problem with the Cyrax trolls. They all fight.
Oh, they don't band together?
No. Most of them do, but there comes the buddy trolls, and they pretend to be fucking Cyrax's friend and just give him this interconnectivity. And like Marty, like the Marty guy, like says this all the time, like stop being friends with him, like start fucking with him, like dude, like Marty will come up with the funniest things to do to like fuck with him. It's like creative stuff. I'm trying to think of an example.
Well, you said that he pretended to be a producer, right?
Yeah, well, that was the opening. So Cyrax had this one friend and that they brought him to a train yard, and Cyrax took a selfie on a train, and Marty found some obscure law written in like the 19th century that said you're not allowed to touch trains, and so he was branding Cyrax as a criminal. He broke train law. And so that got Cyrax on there to fucking bitch about it. And Cyrax made like 9 videos talking, it was in the right to look at trains and it's urban exploration. And like, it kept him busy.
Yeah.
You know, that's the point. And plus Marty, you know, it's fucking hilarious. It is funny. I know that's the point we're not making. This is all very funny.
Yeah.
But anyways, so these other trolls came along and they sucked. But one thing they did was they convinced Cyrax to put a gigawatt like kill switch into his egg, something like that, and they bricked his Xbox.
Okay.
A week later, some piece of shit sent him a new Xbox because they felt sorry for him. Because he cries. Did I tell you that? He cries a lot.
Yeah.
These people sent a new Xbox to him.
Are you
not the trolls?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
No, this is one of those middle-aged women that think that this poor baby is
it's
being
middle-aged
picked
men
on.
too. I don't want to say that, but they Marty and these. I keep saying Marty. I don't mean to like call him out constantly, but they like try to expose these people. Like this is this guy. I think they this is where he works and like stuff like that. But like it's not beneath me to fuck with Cyrax, but like there's people doing it that are so much better at it than me.
Got you. You said his dad also was...
His dad is a pedophile.
Yeah.
His dad was in jail for raping someone on a bike path.
Was it his mom?
No, his mom... No.
Oh, okay.
But, is there any... I don't know.
Because you haven't been mentioning her. You mentioned that he
The
lives
mom
with his
died
grandparents.
when he was little.
Ah.
So there's nothing known about her. I don't even think there's a picture of her.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know this stuff. Like I don't sit around and research this.
Well,
I just know from like watching. Like I'll turn one of those on while I'm doing something.
I don't know the extent of your knowledge, but you're name dropping and you're getting like bullet points out. So I just thought I'd ask.
Not trying to like brag about myself, but I have a very good memory. Mm-hmm. So I remember things. Like I never forget. I'm always thinking.
Okay. I don't have barely any memory.
Would you like to address Cyrax? Tell him what you think, Ophamae.
I've mostly covered it. I believe that he should shouldn't be around.
He might listen.
That's fine.
I just I looked at we took a break real fast, but I looked at their like Marty, Music is Marty, and all that. They do have higher subscribers than us by a little bit, so we're not bigger than them. Okay. Thankfully, I know I was at one point, but I'm kind of glad though because I don't want to get involved in this shit.
No, it seems like they are the Olympians of this sport, and I commend them for it.
I have to say what happened with Cyrax? Mm-hmm. Why Music Biz Marty fights him so much? So what happened?
Wasn't he the one that...
Well, let me say it.
Oh, yeah.
So, Music Biz Marty had a girlfriend who was also a YouTuber named Jamie. Okay. Jamie, I think they broke up. They did. But you still have feelings for someone. Yeah. And Jamie died of COVID. Mm. And I think it was the day or day after it happened. It's famous now. That this is like in this sector of the world, the YouTube and the internet. But what happened? Cyrax, the day Jamie died, called Music is Marty and said, "I'm sorry she died." And he's like, "Well, thank you." He was taken aback, like, wow, this is a show of compassion. He then segues into, "If you have any of her nudes, please give them to me because she would want me to have them." And that's why he did it. It was that slight that was enough to bring down what I refer to him as the Hebrew hammer. Because of he did, I didn't mention this, but Music Biz Marty went to Cyrax's neighborhood. There was this whole Cyrax lives in Akron, Ohio. I got to tell you this story. Cyrax lives in Akron, Ohio, and Music Biz Marty decided to become the mayor of Akron. So he was running it wasn't real, but Cyrax thought it was real. Yeah. So he's running like a campaign, and he got an Airbnb in Akron, like up the street from Cyrax, and Music Biz Marty had tried to visit Cyrax before. Like, never, like, I don't think he actually wanted to fight him. He just wanted to meet him. And tried to get him to come out of his house, and Cyrax hid under his bed. Yeah. And let his grandma come out. Go away, And so Music is Marty's held up. I can't believe I know all this. This is my Game of Thrones. Music is Marty. Music Marty is in this Airbnb, hanging out, like, listening to music, like, waving at people, like... like he's campaigning. That's what a mayor does. Yeah. And Cyrax comes running down the street, and Marty, he attacks Marty, and Marty's like this giant dude. He just beats the shit out of him. Mm-hmm. And he did this move, and in my headcanon, I call it the Hebrew hammer, because he was just hammering on Cyrax's little hand. I mean, if it gives you any consolation, he's gotten his ass kicked, but
no, I want his blood to run in the sewers of Akron.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know if he's worth it. If it's better just to leave him miserable. Anyways, what else?
I don't know. I think he should die and he can reincarnate as one of those fucking butthole worms that he likes so much.
Yeah. Reudimentary Esquire. He's a good friend of this podcast. Back in the day, he had a bit of he liked to. There's these big women, big overweight women on the internet that eat food for people.
Oh, like ASMR food, or are you
Something
talking about like
mukbang is what they called it.
Oh, I don't know.
And
or is it like the Travel Channel like food, like eat this many wings?
No, it's overweight women. And I'm saying they're overweight because they are specifically. That's their whole gimmick. Is they're overweight. Here's one of them.
Hey guys.
Oh, sorry. There's this big girl, and she just eats food for the camera, and like people pay her to do it.
Okay.
And there's all these communities, much like a whale is floating in the ocean, and there's shrimp and the barnacles and the other fish are following the trail of the whale. All these little communities are there. So there's Amberlynn Reed is this one girl that Simpenstein, I don't know what his problem was. He thought she was funny. Chantel, the Feudy Beauty woman. That woman was crazy back in the day. I never really found them interesting because if I wanted to go see an overweight woman eat, I would just go to the mall and to the food court because that's where, I mean, they're everywhere. That's not unique.
Yeah.
Like Cyrax is like a little monster man. It's interesting.
The little shenanigans he gets.
Yeah, he gets people. I don't know. I like again. Like I don't know. I just I can't. I can't decide.
Well, why'd you bring up Simpenstein?
Oh, he trolls it. That's what he used to do. He used to troll those people.
Oh.
Yeah. And like,
so he's in the community. He does it.
He was those big women.
Okay.
He trolled. Yeah. And he got his old channel deleted because of it.
Huh.
Yeah. That's what you weren't listening to his letter.
No, I did. He had to get a new channel.
Yeah. And that's the problem.
Well, I thought that was like a little joke. Like he was just.
It's not. There's nothing funny about these big women. They're these horrible. They're eating like too much cheese, and you could. Nikocado Avocado, have you heard of him? He's I'm getting into something. It's a whole genre of like making fun of fat people is like what this genre of trolling is.
Okay.
I have like given you probably the two most extreme examples I know of.
Yeah.
These are like the minor things. I don't know. Again, it's like with me, it's more about watching in silence. Like I'm trying to think of examples of people. Like I don't want to like.
So those two examples are like, the worst of the humanity, and that's like
right.
Trolling's used for good, but there's also like times where trolling's just like, well.
Yeah, well, there's this guy, for example, Mormo Zine, I think is his name, and he's like this weird, like, here he is right there. Whoop, crap. He's like this old man, and he just gets on these things and like talks about, like, he thinks he's a witch, and he's got like superpowers and stuff, kind of like you. And
I don't think I have superpowers.
He's like just this weirdo. I just like him. I think I like this guy because he's harmless. He's not like there's another guy called Wildman Chris, not Christian, who I think is like, he's probably on the spectrum or something. And he's really sensitive about his forearms. And so he'll talk about his life like, if I had bigger forearms, I would be better. I'd be the president if my forearms were big enough. And like, I like to get in the chat and be like, you could like, in Thailand, there's like forearm surgery.
Yeah.
Like, you can get, like, I make something up and, it's like gives him like, it enriches his life. He's got something to think about. Like, he starts looking into that. It doesn't exist, so I know I'm not hurting him. Okay. Cobra JFS. Have you ever seen him? They call him the Snake Wizard.
No. This
little guy, he sits in a room. I'm like giving you like the bullet points. This guy, Cobra JFS. He's some other dude, and he's like just sits around and drinks and talks about the world. It's just,
yeah.
They're not exciting, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Daniel Larson, however, this man travels the world. He's homeless, and people give him money to travel. He's obsessed with a girl from like American Idol, that's not the right guy. Grace Vanderval or something, and like. You know her?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's obsessed
No, that was
with her.
America's Got Talent.
Okay.
She was like 12 when she went on there.
Well, he's
11.
a pedo too.
Yeah.
But like he's obsessed with like stalking her, so he just follows her around the country and he records himself and like he's exciting because like Cyrax and Christian never leave their house.
Yeah.
He's like out in the world.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, the lion's out of the zoo. Like he's like, where's Grace? And like running around. He's got scabies like in his face, like, ah. Yeah, but he's people, I don't know. I again, like him. And I find myself watching people, and that's all this is watching and listening to people, right? Mm-hmm. That's all we're doing. How Cyrax and Christian can even let it penetrate them and upset them.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, they don't have the societal filters that people usually have.
Exactly.
So they take it like so
it's
seriously.
It's all a game.
Well, like there's picking on people and like soft ribbing.
But no, it's all imaginary. It's all on the internet.
No, yeah.
Another big, the video game, Lolcows. The Dark Side Phil, Wings of Redemption, these heavy-set guys that play video games all day and hate it, but it's their life. They hate it. People send them money to, like, say stupid things and troll them and, like, send them Wendy's chili. This one guy likes Wendy's chili, so they send him Wendy's chili, like, just like, yeah, they send him Pepsis.
Okay.
Just fuck with them. I don't know if this is, unless you have anything to add to this. This has been such a fucking terrible video, man.
This is more informative for me, I think. I think most of your viewers probably are more in the know than I am.
Again, I kind of designed this episode to be for people that are older. Mm-hmm. Do you know who Francis, this guy?
A little bit, yeah.
He used to make these videos. His title is Boogie2988. His name is Steve. I think Steve Williams. I think that's his name. Mm-hmm. He started off, he's a heavy-set, overweight guy. Mm-hmm. And by the way, they just released an hour-long documentary on YouTube about this guy's life.
Yeah.
And the current financial situation he's in.
I think Nick was talking about it.
You should watch it. It's only like an hour.
Okay.
I mean, it's not interest. It's just a fucking fat fuck who screwed. Well, he started off as this wholesome guy. Mm. And he made these videos with this character called Francis. It was a character. It was a skit where he's this shocking nerd. He sounds like this. And
he does the speech therapy accent?
And he would get mad about World of Warcraft and Diablo 3 and like StarCraft. And I like would laugh at it because
Yeah.
And he was actually a very positive guy and people liked him. And what's
the turn? What horrible thing has this man done?
He's not necessarily as bad as Cyrax, but he's just, his is more of psychological, I guess. He's very manipulative. Mm. He's just kind of an asshole.
Okay.
He's lost a lot of friends. He made a lot of friends at YouTube. Like he knew Markiplier.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. And yeah. That was the multiplayer phase, like back in 2012 to 2014.
Yes. Spoiler alert. I've met him.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you that story.
Okay.
It's not a very good story.
Yeah.
But he basically, currently, he's like broke because he spent all his money on high cost escorts that may or may not have been underage. He brags about it. He's dating a like 18-year-old who lives in his house. He's 50. And he gets in like the bathtub and plays rubber ducky and bathes her and all this weird stuff. And he's just kind of an unlikable guy. He's very pathetic.
Yeah.
He's kind of the opposite of me.
Is he a adult baby?
He might be.
Okay.
Caleb was very heavy set. He might be like Caleb. Mm. But he's just pathetic. I just recommend watching the documentary, I guess.
Well, I don't think he's pathetic for his weight. Like, some people can't control that.
He had the gastric bypass surgery, and he gained all the weight. He lost it, then he gained it back because he wasn't getting enough attention. He's very attention-driven. Mm. I think he beat his ex-wife. I could, literally go on and on.
Yeah.
But he's just a character. He's just a narcissistic imposter disorder. Like, he's imposter syndrome. Sorry, not disorder. Mm-hmm. The thing is, when I'm like saying this out loud, he's not that fascinating.
Yeah.
He's not. If you don't know who he is, you're not going to be interested. In fact, you know what? If you're listening to this, don't watch the documentary. Don't give the fuck attention. It just isn't interesting, is it?
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm completely perplexed by the world of trolling, but that's because I didn't know it existed.
This guy in particular, so the problem with him is he was very popular. He had millions of subscribers, and he's fallen off so bad that he's like bankrupt.
Yeah.
And he has like $7,000 of hospital bills because he's overweight and he's got all these problems.
And he had the surgery.
And he has antidepressants and all these psych meds. And he spends all his money on food, Magic the Gathering cards, video games. Remember what I said? Watching what happens next. People don't know what's going to happen next. They don't know if he's going to fail, if he's going to have a comeback. That's what's keeping me on the hook. So I'll tell you about how I met him.
Okay.
He doesn't know who I am. I don't doubt it. This is not this isn't like a big story. There's nothing magnificent about this.
Okay.
I don't have any grand insight, but I think it's worth saying because it kind of opened my eyes. It's personal. I believe it was between 2015 and 2017. There's something called VidCon.
Yeah, I know about that.
It was in Baltimore, I believe. I don't remember where it was. And I'm saying something I shouldn't. I went there, and I didn't tell my wife I went. And I didn't really tell anybody. I didn't even tell, I don't think anyone knew, because I wanted to go by myself for some reason. It sounds sketchy as fuck, but I went to VidCon. And I was hoping almost to, network. Meet people, maybe get a shout out. Because I had watched a lot of these people. And back then, when I was wanting to be a YouTuber or being professional at it. I was young or naive I haven't changed much. I think it was my perception of other people was different. People were different. I wasn't different. I learned.
At that time, did you have a little bit more faith that people were...
No, that's not the problem. I was the problem.
Okay.
I'm the mean one. I'm the monster. You understand? They weren't. When I met these people and I got face to face with them, and again, there's no I'm not saying I had any prolonged, intelligent conversation with any of them, but it's when I saw what they were like in person, they were much more happier, hyperactive. I'm not even saying this to be just much more energetic and moved fast, and I've always been this doomer, I guess. I fit in much more in this time than I did back then. I think the 2015 things have changed so much. It makes me sad. I don't think the world needs more people like me. I miss the days of old YouTube where the trolling was funny when there was Liquid Chris and no one was raping anyone. You know? And Boogie 2988 was just a joke. He was just a, big jolly guy. But I didn't go there with the intention of meeting him. I went there with the intention of meeting some other people. Yeah. And the other thing is I operated in a completely different hemisphere. I'm a gamer, streamer. I wanted to do other things. These are vloggers, these type of people, movie reviewers. They just weren't like me. And so I'm walking down the hallway, and there's a small, very small, maybe 3 people gathered around Boogie 2988, Francis. And I recognized him instantly. He was in a mobility scooter, because he's a big guy. And there's, I think, a few people talking to him, and he was in the hallway, just in the hall. And there was a guy with him. This is kind of important. He kind of looked like a fat Weird Al Yankovic. He's wearing a hat on backwards or a bandana. He's a YouTuber too. I don't know what his name is. I know he's a YouTuber. I've seen him. He had wavy hair, Weird Al Yankovic, that weird hair. He was really loud, this guy. I remember that. He's like, "Oh, Boogie." And they were filming, by the way. There were cameras.
Like an interview?
No, just vlogging. You know how they used to do that?
Yeah. It was very big at that time.
Yes. And so I went up to him, and I'm I wasn't nervous, but it's it's a feeling of seeing somebody in a camera that much and seeing him on your screen and then seeing him in person, it was surreal. It was a weird feeling. I kind of felt like that throughout the day, but he especially, for some reason, took me off guard because he was there. Like, the other guys, like, I'm sure they were walking around, but I didn't recognize anybody else. The other people were behind, like, a table, and you'd go up and talk. I didn't talk because I didn't give a shit, but, like, I saw him, and I'm like, holy fuck, it's Boogie. You know, it's Francis. I went up to him, and I'm like, hi, hi, Boogie. And he's like, hi, hey. And I like, the first thing that struck me was how manic he was. He was much more energetic than his videos led me to believe. And I think that kind of plays into, if you watch, like, this impression of him, again, it's like Chris Chan, do you realize, or now. And then next thing you know, he's getting arrested for raping his mother. This guy, like, I just saw him, and he's just like, he's in a mobility scooter, but he is like,
yeah.
And I was talking to him, and I was trying to be nice. And I said something like, I don't want to bother you too much. I don't want an autograph or anything. He's like, you're just the type of fan I like. Someone that doesn't bother me for an autograph. I like you. What's your name? And I'm thinking, like, I never said I was a fan, but, and he shook my hand, and he had a very bad handshake, but I can't.
Probably assuming from you recognizing him. Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, this is my first time here. And, like, I started to kind of give this spiel, like, I was going to, try to introduce myself. And another YouTuber comes up. This guy's much more famous than Boogie, I think. He goes by McJuggernuggets.
Okay.
He, Psycho Dad, Psycho Kid. Psycho Dad destroys an Xbox.
Yeah. That motherfucker?
Yes. He comes up, and goes up. I'm standing there. I'm over Boogie, because Boogie's in a chair. And he comes up, and he puts his hand in between Boogie's face and my face, and snaps his fingers right there.
The dude that had the bob, the blonde hair.
Yes, and he did.
Yeah.
He snapped his fingers. And I'll explain the story. Just listen. But he did this, and, like, again, like, I don't feel like I fit in there very well, because when he did that, I squared up. I, like, turned, like, what the fuck did you just, like, I kind of squared up to him a little bit. And he kind of looked at me, like, kind of like a look on his face, like, oh, I'm sorry. And he starts, the thing about this guy, he's actually really short. This guy, I think, Jesse is his name. He's a really short dude. And I'm like, I kind of looked at him, like, I probably gave him a look, like, don't fuck with me. But
yeah, don't snap in my face.
The look he gave me was like, oh shit, sorry. And Boogie was shouting, like, get out of here, I'm trying to talk to he was, like, shouting at him. And the guy, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh, you're the Psycho Kid. You're McJuggernuggets. He's like, no, I'm Isaac. I said, oh. I said, I thought your name was Jesse. He's like, oh, no, Isaac. Boogie was like, no, that's not, he had this really weird look in his, like, acting. Like, he was, that's the word, acting. He's like, no, that's Isaac. That's not Jesse. We don't know where Jesse is. That's how he fucking sounds. And I'm like, oh, okay. And again, like, me, the grand intellect, whose intellect rivals only the Emperor of China, standing before this display of pure autism. This guy is, like, going by Isaac at the convention, and he snapped his finger. And I kind of stepped back, and other people were kind of coming up, and this is all filmed. They were filming it, and he was kind of snapping his fingers the whole time. 2020, McJuggernuggets. He released something on Netflix called My Virtual Escape, or something like that.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called. During that time, he made some kind of, McJuggernuggets does vlogs, but they're fake vlogs.
No, I know about him.
Okay, but I'm explaining it to the boomers who are listening.
Yeah.
They're fake vlogs. And he did a narrative about alternate dimensions. And there was an alternate McJuggernuggets, an evil one, or something. I don't know, because I haven't watched it. But what I know is that there was a doppelganger, a copy of him called Isaac. And he could do something and flip between dimensions by snapping. And that's how I found out about that, from watching his thing on Netflix. A little bit of it. So that's what he was doing. He was like walking around in character trying to promote that, because at that time in like 2015 or something, he was like, I don't know, I'm assuming this, but I'm assuming he was hyping it up. So that's what he was fucking doing. And he fucking snapped, he was trying to get in Boogie's face, but I think I got caught in the crossfire. So in retrospective, I'm happy I didn't, snap his arm, but
Especially with the camera running.
well, I just think, I know that's not a remarkable story for anyone but me, but I just thought that was the weirdest thing to uncover years later. Like, I never understood that interaction with these, like, fucking people. And it rested on my mind. Now, I'll say this. Challenge to people listening who don't have any time. I think that recording between those three, because they all had camera people, I think that might be on the internet somewhere.
Yeah.
On one of their channels somewhere.
Ooh, if someone could find that.
I'm going to describe, people know this is another thing. People were like, what does Joseph look like? Most people, I used to be on camera. I'm not shy.
Yeah.
I mainly don't do face cam, because I'm not very exciting to look at. I kind of like hang over.
You don't really change your facial expression.
Yes. And I was actually going to say that. I'm not very exciting to watch, and cameras are a pain in the fucking ass. So I'll strike it down. 2015 through 2017 is when this happened. It was at VidCon, one of the VidCons.
Possibly Baltimore,
because I went to a few. That was the first one I went to. It's Boogie 298's channel, McJuggernuggets, and then that guy that I don't know the name of, who kind of looked like had Weird Al Yankovic hair, and he either had a hat on backwards or a bandana. I really wasn't looking at this guy. I know he's a YouTuber because I've seen him in other places. I am not like 5'7", 5'8" in shoes. I'm not a tall guy. Back then I have dark hair, shaved, like kind of swayed back. I have, I'd say I'm quite broad-chested. I don't want to give myself too many compliments. I'm bigger than those motherfuckers, though, muscle-wise. I was back then, especially. I was ripped. I was in a black, gray shirt with Mecha Godzilla on it. And King Caesar. The problem is, there's actually another guy at that convention with a Godzilla shirt fighting Mecha Godzilla. It was a different style. The style that I had on was more of traditional Japanese, like kanji writing. His was just like a squared up. He was a little bit heavier of a guy, so I don't think he could be mistaken. But I have a full head of black hair. That guy, I think, was bald, if you could find it. And like Ophamae said, my eyes very rarely change when I'm talking. I have dead black eyes. And I'm talking to Boogie, and McJuggernuggets becomes up between us. If someone can find if that's fucking real, I would die.
Yeah.
Like Mecha Joseph awkwardly meeting Boogie 298. We can make a short. And I will give you a shout out. I'm not giving you money because I don't give a fuck. But if one of you couple hundred people that watch this can find that, I'd be very interested. Do you have anything else to add to this?
I think also, like, if people are also a little fuzzy on Jesse or, McJuggernugget, whatever, he was also talking about clips and shorts. Right. They would post him on Vine a lot. You'll find it in Vine compilations. It's the video where his dad's, like, trying to break up a house party. And then this... Yeah, chill, Daddy. I know that one. And then there's this black guy that's wearing a wig, and he goes, Daddy, chill. What the fuck is that?
So...
That's like a quote. That's what a lot of people know him by, is the what the fuck is that? That's his dad.
I don't mean any disrespect to that guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have he didn't know that I wasn't in on it. I don't think. And from what I understand, he disowned that Boogie 298 guy, because that guy was like, I don't want to speak on it, but he was ordering prostitutes at his house or something.
That's the rumor, at least.
You know it? Or that's the rumor. That's what Boogie said. He said there were he ordered strippers, or I don't remember.
Just because somebody says something, they can start their own rumors about themselves.
That guy made a new streaming platform called Storyfire at one point, and good for him, for challenging fucking YouTube. What? We're almost done. She had to get up and throw a can away.
I'm taking care of my trash. I'm trying to be a good citizen.
What else do you have to say? Are we done with this podcast? I hope. Yes.
Yes.
I hope that this episode, I know, might have been strange for some people. If you've listened to it, I appreciate it. This Lolcow stuff, like I said, I'm not going to talk about it much.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for the faint of heart.
I'm really scared to start that documentary because I feel like then my For You page is going to get fucked up.
It is, it's interesting to watch people if you like psychology.
Well, I mean, I went to Christian school. I never learned about it.
Well, I would always advise people to just, if you're like the average Joe, don't troll people. It's a job. Like, don't leave it to the professionals. Leave it to people who can actually make it entertaining. Don't buy Cyrax and Xbox.
No, don't buy people like Cyrax and Xbox if we fucking destroy it.
Right. If we?
Well, I mean,
You're
the
part of
public.
it? The public, okay.
I mean, if you wanted to do something like that, if you wanted to take someone down and like
I have a perfect
you had like
ending.
a troll itch.
I have a perfect ending. Do you realize that we have a TikTok? That Ophamae is in charge. If you want to speak with her, that might be the best place to do it. We have a Discord that is a ghost town. No one's joined it. That's okay. Share, subscribe, get us out there. We do appreciate the views. I appreciate it. It's kind of touching. I mean, I guess. But
it's been touching for you.
Yeah, we can read if you want to make fun of Ophamae along with these other guys, go ahead and
God damn, throwing me under the bus.
And we will read them. I'm not very good at goodbyes, so I think we're just going to end it.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Know this, but you should know that I am a lonesome heart, and I have no fire, but a desire to not hear. Don't wanna hear you stop.